Like personally, I've never read the Bible. I've never been into those kind of things. Like it's just never it never caught my attention to be able to be like, oh, this is the main belief. Because like I am like also a man of science. There was one question I always asked that no one can answer still, like to this day, besides it just being randomly created, is what created the space between you and I? Like what holds all of the solar system and the universe? Like no one can actually answer that one. No book, no nothing can actually answer what created space itself.
Um, in the original writings, and this is just my take on this, from what I understand, the Genesis and Genesis. What?
Hey, you go. Say that's the easy answer. Gerbil with a gyroscope.
And Minion of Zed, yes, that's correct. Sorcery does come from the work of Pharmacia, or that's how I always said it, Pharmacia. You're saying Pharmakia? I've never seen it spelled like that, but maybe that's the right spelling. But as far back as I saw that at was the 1400s as Pharmacia. And that word was originally changed from something else too. So we just have to keep going back. So I don't even know the original meaning of sorcery, but as far back as I can tell, farther back you go, you can see that it's somebody who's trying to uncover something scientifically.
What doesn't matter? Oh, exactly. It doesn't matter, but it was just something that I was talking to someone who was very Catholic, very religious, and I was saying, well, explain this. Oh, he did this. I'm like, but it was there before he was there. So explain it.
Oh, me? No. Okay. Here's how I
was responding to saying real quick. Well, you can explain it, but just point being, like, it's one of those. It's very intriguing that like when people get stumped with a question of science when they're very religious, they don't know how to react really because they don't have the answers.
Yeah, and neither do I.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you listening to me? Stop it. Yeah.
Stop listening to you.
Yeah, why?
This is intriguing though. This is intriguing though. So like, what else is very interesting is the fact that there was one thing that you put together, and after you said it, it made a lot of sense, and a lot of people are going back in the times of like, what is it, the Mayan temples, the pyramids, and there was another set of like temples in what, South America or South Africa?
You mean pyramids?
Maybe it was a set of different pyramids, but it was all on. You pointed out they're all on the equator, right?
Well, not quite the equator. It is. They lie on specific lines. If I had my source, I'd be able to show. There is a longitudinal line that they all lie on. And it's not a straight line, it's a curved line. And that's what, I mean, these longitudinal lines do anyways. They curve because the Earth is round. Yeah. Okay, but they all curve and they all land on those lines, all these major pyramids of those times. Mayans, Egyptians,
but like what I was just
getting... shops.
Bass Pro Shops. Yes, ley lines. Okay, ley lines.
Yeah, but there we go. Yeah.
What I was getting to is not the fact that they like that is an interesting fact too about that is that they all lay on like lines that are like correlating, but the fact of each one of those cultures back then showed signs of advanced science. And they were separate from each other, but yet they showed like pictures of electricity, people flying in the sky. There's actually little toys of planes, which is very interesting considering like that wasn't a thing back then. I mean,
yeah. Okay. So one of the things is like if I believed 100% into the Bible now, like everybody's teaching me, then that means that boats would not have been able to sail from one continent to another, but yet they did, because there's obvious connections between them all. As a matter of fact, there's a story of Noah's Ark all over the world. The only differences within the story of Noah's Ark is the name of Noah what he put on the ark and the size of the boat. And those are only differences. The entire rest of the story is identical. They used to call this the Great Deluge, the Great Flood, and everybody experienced it all around the world. And they did interact with each other between continents even at that time. Now, as far as I see prior to the flood that it was a time like today. Modern, advanced, information age, and we were able to share information like we are right now. But after the flood, we lost everything. I mean, thinking about it, we just randomly gained some knowledge that doesn't make sense. We just skipped a bunch of knowledges and just ended up with one knowledge, like somebody happened to know that particular knowledge along the line. But before the flood is a day like today, and after the flood was a day like a desolate area that we had to rebuild all over again.
Just like a nuclear apocalypse, or yeah, exactly, like something like that. Now, I actually had a very interesting thing that popped in my head, because it's kind of conspiracy theorist in a sense, but then not. How about, because Sang showed it to me, and it was that fact of like, do you think that fire in the ocean is a new distraction from COVID, so the government and the media stops talking about COVID as much?
I don't think that it has anything to do with COVID. I have a personal theory on that, because like everybody has a theory. I mean, we're all theoretical idiots. However, I have a personal theory that what they're doing little by little by little is they're trying to confuse us all about what's in the Bible anyways, because what's going to happen is what I see, and yet I am not Christian. But what I see is that the end times are coming. However, they're trying to confuse us with things like fire coming out of the ocean as one of the parts of the Bible that's saying it's going to happen, and it's not. And I think they're simply trying to little by little confuse us into thinking that that was part of it, and it had nothing to do with that. Wait, did I make any sense just now?
Yes, you did. You did.
Okay.
Mystery Pop-Tart, like the bodies and the stuff back then, everything would have been eaten and then buried, because the animals and whatever was around, like the fish, the bodies would have just been deteriorated, if not eaten. And then like it would be on land, but since there was so much water, it would just all the stuff. Have you ever just put water and like dirt inside and it just mixes up? And say like, question: have you? I haven't ever had an answer for, if there was a flood, where did all the dead bodies end up? At the bottom of the ocean?
Well, how many dead whales have you ever found?
Exactly.
There's a lot of areas on this planet, even where I'm sitting, that whales would have died at, because this was all covered in ocean in the United States and a lot of Canada, and this is all water. There was right below us. Yes, there's shells. As a matter of fact, I went to Kentucky and I found in the mountains of Kentucky that there were shells, seashells, and there was a